This is Tom Tayback. Welcome to the Rock and Roll Showcase featuring American Graffiti, the Music, Part 1. Where were you in 62? That's what all the movie posters asked as promotion for American Graffiti hit the ground with the pedal to the metal. It was 1973, and the idea for American Graffiti was developed by writer-director George Lucas's own teenage years. After a succession of unsuccessful pitches to United Artists, 20th Century Fox, Columbia Pictures, Metro-Goldwyn-Mayer, and Paramount Pictures, Lucas finally found favor at Universal. Of course, it was released to critical acclaim and a financial windfall. The movie has no soundtrack. Once Lucas spent $90,000 for the rights to use 41 original rock and roll hits, there was nothing left in the budget, so he chose to use the songs as his backdrop to set the mood. In this feature and 3 to follow, I'll share this music with you from scene to scene in order. As the movie starts, appropriately, Bill Haley and his Comets treat us to Rock Around the Clock, while opening credits roll over a backdrop of Mel's Diner.
We're gonna rock around the clock tonight. Put your glad rags on, join me, hon. We'll have some fun when the clock strikes 1. We're gonna rock around the clock tonight. We're gonna rock, rock, rock till broad daylight. We're gonna rock around the clock tonight. When the clock strikes 2, 3, and 4, if the band slows down, we'll yell for more. We're gonna rock around the clock tonight. We're gonna rock, rock, rock till broad daylight. We're gonna rock around the clock tonight. Say 8, 9, 10, 11, 2, I'll be going strong, and so will you. We're gonna rock around the clock tonight. We're gonna rock, rock, rock till broad daylight. We're gonna rock around the clock tonight.
As the beginning credits end, parked at the diner, Kurt Henderson, played by Richard Dreyfuss, and John Milner, played by Paul Lamont, discuss girls and reminisce about how things used to be on the Strip. Steve Ballender, played by Ron Howard, and Laurie Henderson, played by Cindy Williams, agree to start seeing other people. In the background, 16 Candles by the Crest.
16 candles. For
Cruising on the main drag, Dreyfuss talks to his sister Cindy Williams, while back at the diner, Ron Howard tells Toad, played by Charles Martin Smith, that he can borrow his 58 Chevy Impala until he gets back from college. Setting the mood, G by the Crows.
Girl, hold me, baby, squeeze me, never let me go. I'm not taking chances because I love her so. Gee. Yes, I love her. Yes, I need her. Oh, I love that girl. Love that girl. Cause I love her so. My OG, well, OG, my OG. Oh, I love that girl, love that girl. Oh, please, listen to me, hear my plea. Oh, I love that girl, love that girl.
As Toad cruises the boulevard, doing his best just to show how cool he is, who will ever forget when a carload of wise guys pulls up next to him and he gets mooned? In the background, Runaway by Del Shannon.
As I walk along, I wonder what went wrong with our love, although it was so strong. And as I still walk on, I think of the things we've done together while our hearts were young. I'm a walking in the rain, tears are falling and I feel a pain, wishing you were here by me to end this misery. And I wonder, why she ran away, and I wonder where she will stay, my little runaway. Run, 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 run away. I'm a walking in the rain, tears are falling and I feel a pain, wishing you were here by me to end this misery. And I wonder, why she ran away, and I wonder where she will stay, my little runaway.
As we return to the action on the boulevard, Ron Howard and Cindy Williams are in the front seat, while Dreyfuss rides in the back seat and catches the eye of a mysterious blonde in a baby blue 56 T-Bird, who mouths, "I love you," and then speeds away. He goes crazy trying to get Steve to give chase, but no one else saw a thing. Setting the mood, Why Do Fools Fall in Love by Frankie Lyman and the Teenagers.
Why do fools fall in love? Why do
As we ended up the last segment, Kurt, played by Richard Dreyfuss, spots a hot blonde in a 56 T-Bird who mouths "I love you" and then speeds away. He goes crazy trying to find her. So who was the blonde? Suzanne Summers, who would go on to fame in TV's Three's Company, of course. Now, remember the scene where John pulls up next to some girls in his 32 Deuce Coupe Roadster and tries to convince one of them to join him? This is where the way too young Carol Morrison, played by Mackenzie Phillips, jumps in and refuses to leave. The music for this moment, very appropriately, Buddy Holly's "That'll Be the Day."
Well, that'll be the day when you say goodbye. Yes, that'll be the day when you make me cry. You say you're gonna leave. You know it's a lie, 'cause that'll be the day when I die. Well, you give me all your loving and your loving, all your hugs and kisses and your money too. Well, you know you love me, baby. Still you tell me maybe that someday, well, I'll be through. Well, that'll be the day when you say goodbye. Yes, that'll be the day when you make me cry. You say you're gonna leave. You know it's a lie, 'cause that'll be the day when I die. When you say goodbye, yes, that'll be the day when you make me cry. You say you're gonna leave. You know it's a lie, 'cause that'll be the day when I die. Well, when Cupid shot his dart, he shot it at your heart. So if we ever part, then I'll leave you. You sit and hold me and you tell me boldly that someday, well, I'll be through. Well, that'll be the day when you say goodbye. Yes, that'll be the day when you make me cry. You say you're gonna leave. You know it's a lie, 'cause that'll be the day when I die. Well, that'll be the day. Ooh, ooh, that'll be the day. Ooh, ooh, that'll be the day. Ooh, ooh, that'll be the day.
Do you remember the T-shirt that Mackenzie Phillips wore throughout the movie? It was for Dewey Weber Surfboards. Now, Toad is tooling around in Ron Howard's car and finds himself at a stoplight, revving engines with a wannabe drag racer. As the light turned green, Toad floors it, but he's in reverse. The music, as announced by Wolfman Jack over the radio, Fannie Mae with Buster Brown.
All right, baby. Here we go with another call out of the stations. Can you dig it? Answer the phone, dummy.
Pinky's Pizza.
Yeah, listen, you got any more of those secret agent spy scopes?
Hit parade on the stethoscope.
No, the secret agent spy scope, man. That pulls in the moon, the stars, the planets, and the satellites, and the spacemen.
You must have the wrong number, partner.
If you want a jitter jive, bust around Fannie Mae.
Somebody, tell me what's wrong with me. I want somebody, tell me what's wrong with me. Oh, I ain't in trouble, and so much misery. Now, Fannie Mae, baby, won't you please come home?
At this point in the movie, most of the kids find their way to the high school sock hop. What else would you expect for background? That's right, At the Hop, played by Flash Cadillac and the Continental Kids.
1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. And even stroll it at the hop, 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 hop. When the record stops spinning, you can lift it with the chicken at the hop, 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 hop. Do the dance sensations that are sweeping the nation at the hop, 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 hop. Let's go to the 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 hop. Come on, let's go to the hop. You can swing it, you can groove it, you can really start moving at the hop. Where the jockey is smoothest and the music is the coolest at the hop. All the guys and chicks can get their kicks at the hop, 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 hop. Let's go to the 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 hop. Come on, let's go to the hop. Let's go, go. Hop, 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 hop. When the record stops spinning, you can lift it with the chicken at the hop, 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 hop. Do the dance sensations that are sweeping the nation at the hop, 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 hop. You can swing it, you can do it, you can really start to move it at the hop. Where the track is smoothest and the music is the coolest at the hop. All the cats and chicks can get their kicks at the hop, 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 hop. Let's go to the hop. Let's go to the hop, oh baby. Let's go to the hop, oh baby. Let's go to the hop. Come on, let's go to the hop. Let's go.
As the sock hop continues, Ron Howard asks Cindy Williams to dance. But she's still a little upset about his idea to see other people, so she refuses. The song they don't dance to? A little more Flash Cadillac and the Continental Kids with She's So Fine.
I've been searching for a girl, Bobby socks and a ponytail. When I saw her standing there, I had to pick her up, I couldn't fail. 'Cause I knew I had to make her mine. She's so cool, she's so fine. Whoa, I was there thinking things to say, strolling up to her to make my play. I decided that I'd drive her home, call her later on the telephone. 'Cause I knew I had to make her mine. She's so cool, she's so fine. Whoa, then I knew she could be mine. The steady guy was just a waste of time. You're gonna lose that girl, just to wait and see. Maybe later we can make a date. It's gotta be tonight, 'cause I just can't wait. If he sees us holding hands, he'd be wise to understand that I knew I had to make her mine. She's so cool, she's so fine. Whoa. Searching for a girl. I've been searching for a girl.
As the dance continues, Richard Dreyfuss ends up having a smoke and a heart-to-heart with his favorite teacher, Mr. Wolf, who's a chaperone at the dance, and encourages Dreyfuss to delay college, go out and explore life. Of course, this guy's a loser. The song for this scene, as the kids continue to dance in the gym, The Stroll by the Diamonds.
Come, let's stroll across the floor. Come, let's stroll across the floor. Now turn around, baby. Let's stroll once more. Feels so good. Take me by my hand. I feel so good. Take me by my hand. And let's go strolling in Wonderland. There's my love strolling in the door. There's my love strolling in the door. Baby, let's go strolling by the candy store.
You're listening to Rock and Roll Showcase, American Graffiti, the music. It's time for a little trivia. The day before filming was due to start, a key member of the crew was arrested for growing marijuana. That set things back a little bit. On the first night of shooting, it took so long to get the cameras mounted onto the cars, the filming didn't get started until 2 a.m., putting the crew another half night behind the schedule before they could even start. On the second night of shooting, a fire in a nearby restaurant brought fire trucks into the area. Their sirens, of course, and the resulting traffic jam prevented any filming. Barbara Ann by the Regents.
Barbara Ann, Barbara Ann. To a dance, looking for a man. Saw Barbara Ann, so I thought I'd take a chance on Barbara Ann, Barbara Ann. Take my hand, oh Barbara Ann, Barbara Ann. Take my hand, you got me rocking and a rolling, rocking and a little Barbara Ann, Barbara Ann, Barbara Ann, Sue, but I knew they wouldn't do a Barbara Ann, Barbara Ann. Take my hand, oh Barbara Ann, Barbara Ann. Take my hand, you got me rocking and a rolling, rocking and a rhythm, Barbara Ann, Barbara Ann. Favorite tune, dance with Betty Lou, tried Peggy Sue, but I knew they wouldn't do a Barbara Ann, Barbara Ann. Take my hand, oh Barbara Ann, Barbara Ann. Take my hand, you got me rocking and a rolling, rocking and a rhythm, Barbara Ann, Barbara Ann.
A little more American Graffiti trivia. During the shooting of Milner's Deuce Coupe, assistant cameraman Barney Colangelo slipped off the trailer of the camera truck and was run over, suffering minor injuries. Paul Lamatt, who played John Milner, by the way, was rushed to the hospital after suffering an allergic reaction to the walnuts in the Waldorf salad he had at dinner one evening. Speaking of Paul Lamatt, one day when they were goofing around, he threw Richard Dreyfuss into a swimming pool, gashing his forehead on the day before he was due to have his close-ups filmed. Another great rock and roll standard used for mood setting in this movie was See You in September by the Tempos.
I'll be alone each and every night. While you're away, don't forget to write. See you in September. See you when the summer's through. Here we are, saying goodbye at the station. Summer vacation is taking you away. Have a good time, but remember there is danger in the summer moon above. Will I see you in September, or lose you to a summer love? Counting the days till I'll be with you, counting the hours and the minutes too. Have a good time, but remember there is danger in the summer moon above. Will I see you in September, or lose you to a summer love?
So how did they fill in the extras and keep everybody looking like they were from 1962? When many local teens balked at cutting their hair to fit the style of the era, the casting director got the idea to recruit active duty military personnel. He contacted nearby Hamilton Air Force Base in Novato, California, and the information officer there, Lieutenant Colonel Dusty Rhodes, not the wrestler, put out the call for help in the base newspaper. Several airmen accepted the offer and took military leave to participate in the film, leaving the teenagers who wouldn't cooperate, well, having to find another job. Speaking of which, here's another song from the film. They needed about 300 pre-1963 cars to do the film, so they published ads in local newspapers. Over 1,000 car owners responded and were interviewed. Did you know that American Graffiti is actress Kathleen Quinlan's first credited screen appearance? As Peggy, Lori's friend who tries to comfort her after she and Steve have a fight. I just love the line she used on Ron Howard. Joe College strikes out. And then, of course, years later in 1995, Kathleen Quinlan would star in Apollo 13, which Ron Howard directed. Fitting to the scene, another song from this great movie. Crying in the Chapel by Sonny Till and the Orioles.
You saw me crying in the chapel. The tears I shed were tears of joy. I know the meaning of contentment. I am happy with the Lord. Just a plain and simple chapel where all good people go to pray. I prayed the Lord that I'll grow strong as I live from day to day. I searched and I searched, but I couldn't find no way on earth to find peace of mind. Now I'm happy in the chapel where people are of one accord. Yes, we gather in the chapel just to sing and praise the Lord. You'll search and you'll search, but you'll never find no way on earth to find peace of mind. Take your troubles to the chapel. Get down on your knees and pray. Then your burdens will be lighter, and you'll surely find a way.
You're listening to Rock and Roll Showcase, American Graffiti the Music. We'll continue with some more trivia around the film shooting. Producer Francis Ford Coppola and Universal rep Ned Tannen suggested that George Lucas retitle the name. Another Slow Night in Modesto or Rock Around the Block. Man, am I glad they couldn't convince him to go away from American Graffiti. On a Sunday morning in January of 1973, with Universal Studios representative Ned Tannen in attendance, the film was previewed to an audience of young people in San Francisco. In a story that is now legendary in Hollywood annals, despite a very good audience reaction, Mr. Tannen was not impressed with the film and called it unreleasable. Francis Ford Coppola, enraged at the comment, offered to buy the film from Universal on the spot while the exhausted and burned out George Lucas watched in shock. A compromise was finally reached whereby Universal could suggest modifications to the movie, a resolution that George Lucas was not happy about because it took control of the film away from him. Ultimately, though, you gotta believe he was dancing in the aisle, which fits another song from the movie, courtesy of Bobby Freeman.
Your lover man, oh baby, do you wanna dance?
Henry Travers was not only the film's transportation supervisor, but the movie's car guru and driver of both cars in many scenes. He raced that black Chevy right down Petaluma Boulevard in the first drag scene where Milner and Falfa go off at the light. He also drove the Deuce Coupe in the final drag scene out on Freitas Road. Travers lived in Sonoma at the time and not only managed the cars in American Graffiti, but in numerous motion pictures. Since he lived so close to Petaluma where they were filming, he kept the cars at his home when they weren't being used. And as he recalls, he had one heck of a time getting that darn black 55 Chevy started. He first thought it was a starter problem. One night he even had a guy in another car pull up alongside so he could crawl under, take that starter out, and put it in the black 55 Chevy. The problem, though, turned out to be poor grounding. You see, the car was basically a fiberglass shell, and the guy who built it had placed the battery in the trunk. It just wasn't making a good connection. So he goes out and buys the heaviest cable he can find and runs it directly to the starter. That gets him called on the carpet when a review is done of petty cash purchases. After he explained how the film had to go on, everything was just fine. Lucas originally contracted for 75 rock and roll songs to be used in the film, only ended up using 41 of them. Of course, one of those that made the cut was Surfin' Safari by the Beach Boys.
Let's go surfing now, everybody's learning how. Come on a safari with me. Come on a safari with me. Early in the morning we'll be starting out. Some honeys will be coming along. We're loading up our woody with their boards inside and heading out singing our song. Come on baby, wait and see. Yes, I'm gonna take you surfing with me. Come along, surf baby, wait and see. Yes, I'm gonna take you surfing with me. Let's go surfing now, everybody's learning how. Come on a safari with me. Come on a safari. Huntington and Malibu, they're shooting the deer. In Rincon, they're walking the nose. We're going on safari to the islands this year, so if you're coming, get ready to go. Come on, baby, wait and see. Yes, I'm gonna take you surfing with me. Come on, surf, baby, wait and see. Yes, I'm gonna take you surfing with me. Let's go surfing now, everybody's learning how. Come on a safari with me. Come on a safari. They're angling in Laguna and Cerro Azul. They're kicking out in Doheny too. I tell you, surfing's running wild, it's getting bigger every day. From Hawaii to the shores of Peru. Come on, baby, wait and see. Yes, I'm gonna take you surfing with me. Come along, surf, baby, wait and see. Yes, I'm gonna take you surfing with me. Let's go surfing now, everybody's learning how. Come on a safari with me. Come on a safari with me. Yeah, man. With me. Yeah, man.
Some other trivia tidbits. Mel's Drive-In was demolished after the movie was made. The owner's son decided to reopen other Mel's restaurants in 1981 as a small chain. There are two in Hollywood, California, themed after the movie, and one in San Francisco where George Lucas is known to eat occasionally. The street gang, the Pharaohs, that kidnap Richard Dreyfuss in the film are based on George Lucas's car club cohorts growing up in Modesto called the Pharaohs, spelled F-A-R-O-S. And get this, set designer Roger Christian claims he added the pair of dice hanging in the Millennium Falcon's cockpit, briefly seen when Chewbacca bumps his head on him when he first enters, because there were dice hanging in Harrison Ford's car in American Graffiti. He got it wrong, though. Harrison Ford had a skull hanging from his rearview mirror, and Ron Howard had the fluffy dice. That's it for Rock and Roll Showcase, American Graffiti, the Music, Part 1. In Part 2, we'll continue with the storyline and the music that set the mood. I'm Tom Tayback. Thanks for listening.